All right, so over the last few weeks, I've been really delving back into my pop punk phase. I've been going back to so many bands I liked, like Hawthorne Heights, Silverstein, so many bands like that. And I sort of know who I think I need to blame for this, and that's the band Hollowake from Nashville, because I just saw these guys and they totally reminded me how much I love that style of music. And I'm super happy to have their frontman Bobby on the show today. Bobby, how are you doing, man?
I'm great, man. What an honor. That was a killer intro.
Dude, well, I was thinking about it, and I think literally after that show that I saw you guys at, I went back and I pulled out all my old CDs from like the sort of when we were young bands and whatever. And
Hmm.
I got to thinking, how amazing that genre is, and I'm really excited that bands like you guys are sort of bringing that sound to the modern day. How'd you kind of form the band, and how'd you decide this is the sound you wanted to go for?
Oh man. Well, being that I'm 32, I grew up in that Warped Tour scene.
Hmm.
It never left. The quote like it's not just a phase or whatever as like a joke. It wasn't. Like I'm still there. Um, and so basically the band formed under a different name, and it was Josh Overton, my guitarist, and I. We got together and did a duo thing. We did that for about like a year and a half under the name Causeway, and we released some songs that we're playing live still now under Hollow Wake, and it got to a point around 2020 Christmas or something like that, 2021, I think, yeah. And I was like, man, this has been like really fun, but like we need more members. Like it was cool doing it just us and like being creative and recording it ourselves and hitting the ground running with it. But like creatively, I was like, I've hit a wall. And also like we just want to get on stage and like have a band. And so I talked to him about it and he was down for that. So, we decided let's get some members and we made a Facebook post. A lot of people wanted to, you know, join or whatever, but and some were making fun of us because like I'm a very thorough person. So I put this like, this is the time that we meet, this is blah blah blah, no like hard drugs, blah blah blah, like all these things. And like people were like, wow, you want a social security number too? Like, and I was thinking like, you're not it. Like, okay, that's your answer. Cool. But yeah, so we found our bassist first, which was his name is Jake Henderson, and then we have our other guitarist, Colin Pierce, and then the last member who joined was a drummer now, who is Tyler Wetzel, and you know it was just such an organic feel that everything came together, and we all like really just jive, and it has not felt hard in the least to form the second coming of this band, basically. Um, the hardest part was when once we had the band, I was like, okay, so there's another band in Australia and they have the same name as us. And they've also been on have like music on like, TV show and stuff. And I'm like, the trajectory of like we're gonna have to like settle somehow in the future. So let's
Mhm.
just change the name now. So that's what we did, and from there on, we were Hall Awake. So,
Well, clearly
um,
the thorough
yeah,
search paid off because, you found this amazing group, and you guys, from my perspective in the audience, you guys mesh so well on stage together. Did the sound that you and Josh had originally started with, was that changed at all by bringing on these new members? How did they kind of influence the new band and how that sound sort of came to be?
sure, yeah. They definitely took what we had and like brought it to another level. So I had written a song Upside Down that we have out as one of our singles, and um, that was a song that we were playing. Josh and I were in a band before forming, Hall Awake now, and I wrote that song like maybe 4 years ago, and from what that band did to it, I was like, yeah, it's, it flows, it's cool. And then to what Josh and I had, we were like, okay, we're getting there. But then, Colin in his tryout because that's the song we used for to try out. We were like, okay, see what you do with this. Here's like the drum tracks and all that stuff. And we took out the guitar and we wanted to see what they did, or vice versa with bass. And um, you know, Colin did these like almost Midwest emo, like what I call the Widdly Widleys. And in the second verse, and I was like, this is it. Like it just took what we had and made it to a whole new level. And the bass tracks that Jake brought and stuff. So getting into the studio and melding everything together, it just accentuated it to a whole new form basically. And so yes, it was the core of it was kind of the same, but as we you know took those songs that were already written, I was like, do what you want with them. Like, I want you guys to have free range. Like, you guys are a part of this band. We're not just like, you're not just players in our band. And so they did what they brought to it, and it was awesome. And then as we wrote songs together, more songs and such, we were really finding our Hollow Wake sound. And we're still in that process, but you know, we're definitely getting so much closer to you know having a full band sound instead of like, oh, this is what Bobby wrote, brought it in and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I like that you talk about you guys having a sound because while I sort of talked at the beginning, there's definitely like the influences from certain scenes and bands. I think you guys definitely are like a standalone thing, and it's you can't really pinpoint just one band you guys sound like, which is really cool. And I think that holds especially true to the song you guys just put out. Can you sort of talk about like writing What the Hell and sort of releasing it and how that song sort of came together?
For sure, yeah. um what the hell was another I'd say lyrically, and then also Josh and I kind of wrote I wrote What the Hell on the acoustic guitar, and it was in standard. And then when I brought it to Josh, I was like, I want this to be heavier. So we went, to drop C, and really made it different than what we were writing all the other songs before that, like Upside Down and such. Um, and so when the rest of the guys joined Hollow Wake, we were like, here's another song that we have. And you know, them all liking the same style of music, we already had our influences, so it wasn't hard to piece together. Um, and so it was just, taking little bits of each other and just putting it into one song. Um, and so it came together very organically, which I'm very proud of. And, we record everything in Josh's studio, which is Great Space Recording Studios, is what it's named. And he has taken clients. But yeah, so we did everything there, and it just turned out to be better than I expected. Um, Lyrically, uh, you know, I'm the more I would say I'm the main lyricist for the most part, and like I take different ideas or influences, bounce ideas off the guys and such, and if they have a song that they want to write and stuff, I work with them to write something that not only am I comfortable singing, but also like that respects their vision for it too. But What the Hell is basically just plain and simple, Bobby Spencer lyric song. And um, I wanted to really show like the turmoil, and the aspect of like what it is to shout out to something, whether you have a faith or a religion, or just you're angry at something and not hearing anything back, and being like, well, what the hell, like this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to get an answer back and you don't.
Mhm.
And so just just pretty much just what the hell, it came together better than I could have ever expected.
Well, it's an absolute banger, man. And after hearing it, I believe that was the night it came out, right? At the end with Limbs. Wasn't that the release night?
It
Here,
was what we just planned that, yeah.
hearing it live and then hearing it recorded kind of the same within the same 24 hours was really cool because it's one of those songs that, recorded it's great and it's amazing. It's a, killer rock song, but then live you kind of hear a little bit of added like grittiness, a little bit of added heaviness. It was cool hearing it on stage too. When you guys play live, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've been seeing your guys' names on posters for about a year now. I think maybe the Dragged Under show.
Hmm.
Okay, I thought that was you guys. Um, when you're playing these songs live, do you kind of how do you pick a set list? How do you pick what order you're going to play your songs in? What sort of goes into a Hollow Wake performance?
Yeah. I'm really big on uh branding in general. Um, outside of this, I do graphic design. So I really take that thought process and I'm like, okay, how can we make this show really fun, but also like fluid so it just flows? Um, so we have our standard and our drop D songs at the top of the mix because it's like introducing us as kind of it's a little bit lighter. Um, but then we have two songs that we have to like change out our guitars. So I'm like, well, we're gonna put those at the end, but plus they're the real big bangers that we play, and that's kind of like the ending of our show. So I just really try to figure out like what is the best song that comes first and then after that one and just helps the whole show flow. And the guys are really great with that too. Because they would be able to say like, okay, we need you to talk over us tuning down like one string. And I'm like, I got you, no problem. And it won't take very long and such. So we really try to not take up too much time and just get out the rock and roll and not lose our audience in that time.
Hmm. No, I completely get that, and I think you guys do such a good job playing live, and I think that's a testament to the kind of shows you've been playing. In only a year or so of the band existing, already playing with Dragged Under and Limbs and these national touring bands. Have you guys been able to find some bands in Nashville that you feel like fit your sound well? I know that I personally have some favorite sort of pop punk, whatever you want to call it, sounding bands in town. But how do you guys feel that sound is represented in Nashville?
Um, I do feel I do feel like it's represented in some way, shape, and form. I've heard bands that uh just speaking from the heart, they do like this is pop punk, this is cookie cutter, like and that's cool because that's what they do. That's what they want to play. That's awesome. And then there's other bands who are like, taking influences from, you know, emo rap to like hardcore and combining those. And I think that's really cool. And that's something that like Nashville as a whole is like a big stewing pot of just like creative juices. And so I've noticed that throughout different bands. And, I do have to shout out two bands, Jawfane, who take a little bit more of the metalcore rap like route and such. They're really trying to bring that aspect to the community of Nashville, and then us in Motion, who we're friends with as well, who just those type of bands are the ones who are really driving the scene back into Nashville, I feel. And there are others and such, but those are the ones that like come to mind the most. Just because of like how crafted they are, and how much like thought that they put into their shows and such. And it's been cool playing with both of them. But yeah, um, that's what I
Well,
got.
well, you're all good. I definitely need to check out Us in Motion live. I saw Jawfane once within in the last few months, and they're great. They're really, really good band. And I want to know if you have you seen Sideline Heroes? those?
So we were supposed to play with them.
Okay, word.
I think we were supposed to play with them on one of our earlier shows, and either I think either they dropped out or they were sick or something happened. I don't remember what it was, but we never actually got to play with them. Um, and and I heard their stuff and I was like, oh, I'm really excited for this. This is gonna be a good show. But I still haven't done anything with
Mhm.
them yet. I haven't seen them live, so I can't say much.
You would really like them. They're very much what you're talking about, where they kind of bring in other elements to this sort of, scene sound. Like they're I don't know if you're a Sum 41 fan, but they sound like Chuck.
Yeah,
Like they sound like the Chuck era kind of stuff where they bring in a little
that's my
more of
favorite album of
I
Sum 41.
dude, I love that record. I think that record
Yeah.
is insane. Where they kind of bring in like the thrashier riffs and stuff, and they bring in a little bit
Hmm.
heavier sound to it. They remind me of that. So if you're into that record, you will definitely enjoy them. Um, and another one I gotta sort of set you up with is Sugar in the Gas Tank, who go to my school.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. I have seen them live actually.
yeah, those are good dudes,
Um,
and they're a great band.
yeah, they definitely want to play with them for sure. Uh, my wife and I went to this like punk rock festival or whatever.
Oh, was it the flea market?
Yeah,
Yeah, they played that. Yeah.
yeah. I was like shopping around with her, and then all of a sudden, like I hear this band, and they introduce themselves, and they're like, "Hey, we're sure in the gas tank." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Dude,
Yeah. So,
they would be a great fit with you guys too, man. And the third one I gotta say, and I'm gonna plug it because we're both playing together in a few
hell
months.
yeah.
Moonlight Drowns is a really
Okay.
good. They're a great sort of pop punk esque band, and I'm super stoked to be, of course, playing with you guys and also
Yeah.
with them. I think that's gonna be a great bill. And I kind of wanted to ask, in general, obviously you guys have had a great strong start in the last year. I feel like your name is definitely I've seen it so many places in Nashville, which is very cool, and you've played some really cool shows. Do you sort of have the next, year or so mapped out? Like this summer, do you have any shows you're looking to book or you know, any songs you're looking to release? What's kind of the future for Hollow Wake looking like in the next year or so?
Yeah, definitely. We're working on a music video for What the Hell right now. And then also we have two songs that we're working out in the studio right now that are close to being finished. One's that we play live, one is Burnt Out, and then the other one is called Meadows. And those will be released shortly after, as long as with the music video as well. We definitely have some shows, down the pipeline that we're either working out with people or wanting to set up and playing with you, which was really exciting.
I'm so excited for
Yeah,
that. It's gonna be great.
I'm stoked. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. And then we there's been talk about us like uh going to Chattanooga and playing with some bands there and trying to build up our reputation in the local scene in Nashville, but also continue playing for like the touring bands that come through and then also touring ourselves on a small level because we all are professional 9 to 5 dudes and we want to play more shows and everything, but we got bills to pay.
Dude, believe me, I'm in the same boat. Like this summer, we're kind of trying to do the out of town stuff a little more, but it's like, okay, we all do other things. How do we make this all
Yeah.
work so we're not losing a bunch of money? And then, it's definitely a hard game to play. Um, is everyone in the band Nashville like born and raised, or where you guys all from originally?
Yeah, so not originally. I think well, I'll start with me. So I'm originally from Northern Virginia.
Wait,
Um
where?
yeah. So okay, so not many people know this, but it's called Gainesville, Virginia.
Dude, I'm from Fairfax. How have we never talked
Oh,
about?
no way.
Wait, how have we never figured this out? That
Yeah,
literally, yeah,
serious.
dude.
I was gonna say Fairfax because anytime someone's like, "Oh, you're from Virginia, like Northern Virginia, where are you from?" I'm like, "Well, have you heard of Fairfax?" Yeah, and then I'm like, "Gainesville." Um, but it's cool because like you are from there, so like the little suburbia of Gainesville that is now more massive than it was.
Dude, you're not kidding, man. On 66
Yeah,
going out there through like Haymarket, it's crazy.
yeah, it's huge. I'm like, I'm like, I grew up there and I saw like a lot of the construction and stuff, and oh no, cool, we have a movie theater now, like, and all that stuff. But like, then I moved here in Nashville, and like, it's been about 7 years, and then each time I go back, I'm like, this is not where I grew up. Like, where am I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, it's crazy. Well, actually, I want to ask you this now. No, I had no idea you were from 20 minutes from my hometown.
yeah,
Like,
serious.
did you do music stuff growing up
I
in
did.
what was your kind of like, were you in any bands growing up in Virginia? Like what were you kind of into in the Virginia scene?
Yeah. So the biggest band that I was in Virginia, was called Medlow. We were like a synth pop band. And one of our first show was like a battle of the bands at George Mason University.
Yep, I live a
And
block from there. That's hilarious.
so we won that, and the prize was to open for the Plain White Tees, for like George Mason Day and all that. And so we really started off on a good leg, I
That's
would
very
say.
cool.
But yeah, I played in that band for about, I don't know, 5, 6 years or something like that. And they were all like my high school friends and such. Then like we were growing up and everything. So that's the band that I really was. Uh, I was a drummer
Mm.
originally, so I played drums and did backup vocals and stuff, and um, played a lot of cool shows with them. Uh, but never actually in the scene that I was in now, which is funny because I always loved the music, like the hardcore and the heavy breakdowns and pop punk stuff, and but I was never really in a band like that, um, except for like in ninth grade. Like, yeah, we're in a pop punk band and we're playing one show, and there you go.
Yeah, but believe me, I had those. But we have way more in common than I realized. First of all,
Yeah,
obviously the Virginia
seriously.
thing, but second of all, I'm also a drummer, like turned frontman. Like I've been drumming forever. That's my main instrument. But I started doing the
Hmm.
frontman thing like a year ago. But dude, that's awesome. I don't meet hardly anyone from that area in Nashville, so that's very cool. Is anyone else from the band DMV area, or is it all just kind of from all over the
Yeah.
place?
So Colin's actually from Warrenton.
Okay, sick.
Yeah. So like when we met up, I was like, dude, you're from Warrenton. And he was like, yeah, man. I'm like, I'm from Gainesville. And he's like, what? And it's crazy. So like and like he worked with my lead singer of
Mhm.
the band that I was in. So it's just such a small world. Um Josh is, I believe he's originally from Florida. He was like born there. But he's lived in Nashville area like most of his life. Uh Jake was born, I think, in Hendersonville, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's a Tennessean. And then Tyler is actually from Illinois. So we just kind of all migrated to Nashville.
Well, dude, we gotta put a pin in that Virginia thing. Maybe we have to team up for a Virginia show sometime because
Oh, that'd be
that
sick.
would
Yeah.
probably be like the perfect fit. I know we definitely want to do more stuff out that way. But Bobby, man, it's been super great talking to you and getting to know more about Hollowake and stuff. I'm very excited to see what the band continues to do because you guys have been such an exciting band to watch kind of grow in the Nashville world in the last year. My last question for you, and I ask every band or band member that I interview this: if you were to book a dream Hollowake tour with two national bands, you guys and either another Nashville favorite or another favorite, just sort of up and coming band to be the opener, who would you fill those spots with?
Oh my gosh. Uh, what a great question. So just clarify, like any band, like are we opening? What are
So
we doing?
you can be wherever in the lineup you want.
Hmm.
But sort of and also they can be alive or dead or broken up or anything. That I should have specified that too.
Hmm.
But it'd be like, think like big amphitheater tour,
Gotcha.
two big headliners, and you got we'll say you guys are like a national band in this world too. So it's kind of like a triple headliner bill, and then
I see, I see,
there's the
yeah.
opener. Yeah.
Okay. So like basically like I'm guessing you would pick like Nickelback or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, there you
Yeah.
go. Dude, yeah, for sure. It would be with without a doubt. Beartooth, Silverstein, um, probably, um, what was that band? Oh man, can't. I just went blank. What are they name? Just listening to them.
Well,
One second.
the first two are solid. I mean, you cannot go wrong with Beartooth on any tour. I
Yeah,
I
seriously.
I think they're one of I need to write this all down, but I'm pretty sure the three that I've gotten the most are Beartooth, Nothing More, and Motionless in White. I get those three
Mm.
all the time. Nothing More, especially. I think I've got them at least 7 or 8 times, which is like crazy considering the bands that pick them are all over the map. Like it's not just even like active rock type
Yeah,
bands or whatever. But I'm digging this tour so far. I would go to this in a heartbeat.
definitely. Yeah, so it would be Beartooth, Silverstein, Holding Absence, and then we us somewhere on the bill.
That's Dude, that's a killer bill.
Yeah, that would
Well,
be a dream tour for us. I'm pretty sure we
well,
all love those bands.
well, Bobby, with the way things are going for you guys, man, it wouldn't shock me to pull up Instagram one day and see Beartooth with Hollowake, on
One can
my
hope.
on my Instagram, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on today. Talking about the band. I'm super stoked to be playing with you guys soon. Hopefully the first show
Yeah,
of many, I think it might be. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
yeah, dude. Thank you so much for having me on.